this lesson is about the law of sines as it pertains to angle, angle, side, or angle, side, angle. So I'm talking about triangles here, and I want to be able to solve a triangle. To solve a triangle, what I mean is that I have all of the angles, all three angles, and all three side lengths. To do that, I can use two main formulas, the law of sines or the law of cosines. We're going to start learning about the law of sines. Different triangles call for different cases. So in this case, I'm only talking about if I start out with two angles and a side, or an angle, side, angle. Okay, here's the rule. If ABC, so if ABC is a triangle, with sides little a, b, c, and those correspond, then, so angle A is across from side A. Angle B is across from side B. Then A over the sine of A, side and angle, notice the upper and lower case, A over the sine of A equals B over the sine of B, which equals C over the sine of C. Or in reciprocal form, so this is the same thing, I can do sine of A over A equals sine of B over B equals sine of big C over C. Meaning if I do the sine of something over its side, I can use just these two pieces or just these two pieces or just these two pieces to find the other piece. Before we start, you want to make sure your calculator is in degree mode, not radians. That'll be really important in this lesson. Okay, example 1, if you are given two angles and a side, okay, that would be like, that'll be the angle side case. If C, this is big C, is 102.3 degrees, big B equals 28.7 degrees, and little b, the side, equals 27.4 feet. I want to solve the triangle, so I am missing one angle and two sides. To do that, I'm going to start with the easiest piece. If I'm given two angles, the easiest piece would be to find the third angle, because we know about triangles that their angle measures add up to 180 degrees. So if you're a steps person, I'm going to try to write some of those out for you over here. Let me zoom out my camera just a little bit here. Okay, there we go. Okay, number 1, find your angles. And I'm going to say triangles equal 180 degrees. So maybe that will help you remember. Okay, so angle A, that's the one that I'm missing. I'm going to do 180 minus 102.3 minus 28.7. And when I plug that into my calculator, my angle is 49 degrees. Okay, so my first thing that I figured out is now I have all three angles. My angles are 28.7, 102.3, and 49 degrees. I have one side and I'm missing the other two. So now I want to find my sides. And I'm going to use the law of sines. Okay? So I'm going to start, I have more angles, so I'm going to start with my angles on top. The sine of A, which is 49 degrees, over side A, which I do not know, equals the sine, and then I can pick either one. I could pick C or B. I want to use the one I have the most information about, which would be B, because I know the side and the angle. I need to know two pieces, so I only have one unknown. So I'm going to do the sine of 28.7 degrees over 27.4 feet. Okay, now I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So I have 27.4 times the sine of 49 degrees equals A times the sine of 28.7. That's that cross multiply. Now I'm going to divide both sides by the sine of 28.7. And side angle A would be equal to, just plug that into your calculator, make sure you're in degrees, would be 43.06 feet. So now I have an angle and one of my sides. The last thing I need is my last side. So step 3 would be to repeat So we're going to do the sine, this time of angle C, since I want side C, is 102.3 over little c, equals, and then the formula looks the same, sine of 28.7 over 27.4. That's side of angle B over side B. I'm going to cross multiply and divide. 27.4 sine of 102.3 equals the sine, or C, times the sine of 28.7. Divide both sides by sine of 28.7. Remember, sine is attached there. That makes a pretty big difference. You can't just divide by that part. And when I do that, my side is 55.75 feet when I plug that into my calculator. Let me point out to you that my largest angle, 102, matches my largest side. Okay? My next largest angle is 49 degrees. My next largest side is 43. My smallest angle, 28.7, goes with 27.4 feet. That's a good way to kind of check that you have the right information, to kind of check that your smallest sides correspond to your smallest angles. Now I have 3 sides and 3 angles, so I'm done. I'm going to show you one more example, number 2, and this is if you're given 2 angles and a side, but in this case we're talking about angle, side, angle. And if you wanted to, you could always draw a triangle to kind of give yourself a better idea of what this looks like. I'm not going to do that right now, but we could do that if you want to take a look at that later. Angle A is 43 degrees. Angle B is 98 degrees. And side C is 22 feet. Okay, remember to use the law of sines, I have to have an angle and a side that correspond. In this case, I only have one side, which is C, and I do not have its angle, so I've got to figure out the other angle in order to move on. That's easy to do because C would be equal to 180 minus 43 minus 98. And if I do that, my angle C is 39 degrees. Now, that's my first answer. Now I can find my other 2 sides by doing the sine of 39 degrees, that's big C, over little c, which is 22, equals the sine of 43 over side A. That's angle A over side A. So now I can do cross multiply. 22 sine 43 equals A sine 39. Divide both sides by the sine of 39. And angle A is equal to 23.84 feet. And now I've got all but one side. Okay, so to find that last one, again, I'm going to use the same process. The sine of 39 over 22 equals the sine of 98 over B. That's little b for that side. 22 sine 98 over B sine 39. Divide both sides by sine of 39. And B is equal to 34.62. Again, I'm following those same steps using my law of sines. The most important thing is that you realize the angle has to correspond to the side. That's the way you can solve it. By the time you're done, you should have 3 answers to each problem. Okay, assignment number 9 is page 436, and it's numbers 1 to 4, 7, and 8. That's just 6 problems for you to figure out. Good luck, and let me know if you have questions.